Page 14, Por una Cabeza. It's a tango, a type of Argentine dances. I really like Latin American music. The rhythms are just, they'll catch you. You just got to do a toe tapping or a dance to those things. Now they give one line here on tango time to get an idea of the rhythm, because it's the rhythm we're after here, because this Cabeza song thingy, I mean, this got notes going nuts, so we're going to have to talk about those. But let's just talk about tango time for just a moment. It's one line long, and it's here, 1 and 2. And then repeat. One and rest. It's the rhythm you're going to be careful about. And because the rhythm in this Cabeza piece is trickier than that. So let's talk about that. Call this a recital piece. This is a piece people would enjoy hearing. If you want to take the time to work it up, it would be a really good one to play for people. And they'd say, oh, you're learning the piano, play me something. And you whip this out and they think, wow. Assuming you do a good job of it. If you don't do a good job of it, they're going to say, oh, that's very nice. Yeah, go away now. So let's see if we can figure out how to do a good job of it. First thing I do is I look it over. It's a little over a page long of music. Now it is repeated, so it's really twice as long as it looks, but of music to learn is a little over a page. The clef signs are treble and bass, at least to start. There's one sharp in the key signature. That would be the key of G major or E minor, because those are the keys with one sharp. If we look at the end, we're G. I'm guessing we're in G major. It's probably going to go back and forth. A lot of times tangos are written in minor, because you'll probably get some E minor in there also. Do the scales and arpeggios for both, though. 1 octave up and down is fine, yeah. And 2/4 time signature. A lot of 16th notes. 1 E and a 2 E and a 1 E and a 2. We'll just take it real slow. Right hand first. I want a fingering that lets me connect the notes if I can get it. And they have a 2. 2, 1. Because you could just start with 1. Here. But this 2, 1 is going to come in handy later. So let's go ahead and do the 2, 1. You need the practice anyway, right? So 2, 1. So, and it's coming on beat 2. 2 E and a. 2 E and a. 1 E and a. 2. 1 E and a. 2. Coming down, I'm moving around on the rest. That's okay. It'd be nice not to have to do that. If I could crawl around, I'd prefer to do that than have to lift up and move. So it's a here. So here I'd have to put thumb on that probably, on the second full measure. Here. This way I'm in position to go on. And then reach down. Here I'm not moving around, I'm crawling around. It's a different kind of fingering. You do whatever your teacher tells you to do, but I'm going to just stick with the fingering in the book for now. And the measure 4, reach up. We need a little finger for the D, and that's why they're starting with 4th. But you can start with little finger if you can, because you can do that 3. And then you can do it. So if you got little hands and you just barely make the octave, then I suggest on measure 4 for the high C, little finger, and then 3. But if your hands are big enough, you can use 4th finger. And 4. And then I like that fingering there in measures 6 and 7. We're not crossing over the thumb necessarily. We're kind of crawling down, walking down the keyboard. So again, for measure 6, we're here, and then just here. Because I could have done that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Same, but they're staying out here rather than up in here, because up in here has problems with it. So if we can, we like to stay out here. And that's a 2, 1, 3. And then reach down, 3, 5. Here, and then let's go over to measure 13. Here, we're here. Thumb, here. Here. I would suggest here, put a thumb on that. measure 14, thumb on that one, because then you can reach that third finger more easily. When they say a 5, you do that. You can also just use a 4. But hold that C sharp down. See, we got 2 voices now. We got the 8th note and 16th notes. And we got the bottom notes, the quarter notes, here, here, and here. 2 voices. We want to hear them both. Hold the quarter notes down here. So it's, hold it, and then here, thumb comes off. Hold it down, and again, and thumb's playing them all. That's okay, but hold those down. And going on is come up during the rests, and you can hear. You say a 2, 3. That's fine. You don't have to. You can do 3 on both. Oh, goody. We get triplets. Gotta love those triplets. This is measure 17. You see the double bars between measure 16 and 17. That is a musical indication of a section separation. So the first part of this was one section. And starting at measure 17, we're going into a new section. It's a different melody. It doesn't mean that a different melody requires another section. It just means another section is a different melody. Yeah. It comes in handy when you're learning the piece because you want to break it up into pieces to learn it. And this way you can like section at a time or something. But when you see the double bars, you can expect something different. You'll notice that we now have 2 flats. We've changed key signatures. They didn't do it the way most publishers will do it. But it doesn't matter. We understand what they want. We went from 1 sharp, G major, into 2 flats. Now, are we in B flat major or G minor? I'm guessing we're in G minor because we were in G major. We went into G minor. All the B's and E's are flatted. That's what I'm after. As far as practicing scales and arpeggios, I stick with what's at the beginning because we'll get pieces in these other keys later and you can do those scales then. But if you really love scales, go ahead and do the scales for B flat major and G minor too in the arpeggios. It's just, in my opinion, it may not be so necessary yet. I don't want to bog you down with a lot of scales to do. No. But let's go back to these triplets. There's 2 beats in the measure. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. The first beat has a rest, 1 and, 1 and. And the first note in the triplet comes on beat 2. 1 and 2. 1 and 2. Well, the first beat of the next measure is there. It's a 1 and 2 and 3. 1 and 2 and 3. That's the rhythm for that. We just got to fill in the other 2 notes. And there's 1 and a 2 and a, or triplet, triplet. 1 and triplet, 1 and triplet, 1 and 2 and a, 1 and 2 and a. You get really good at going back and forth between 1 and 2, or 2s and 3s, duples and triples, because we get it so much. But the 4 notes involved, the triplet and the note after, 4 notes, they all got to be even. 1 and 2 and a, 1 and 2 and 1. And 1. One E and a 2 E and a. So we got this rhythm thingy. Fingering wise, again, you can use 3 on both of those on measure 17. And then for measure 19, then I would use a 1 and 3. Although I could do a 2 if it'd be easier for you. Do 1, 2. Because of the black key, if you don't want to use your little finger on it, use 4. So use 2. Use thumb on the first one, because I just used 2, so 1. And then you come over, reach up, 2 E and a. And again, 3 or 2, either one. You can, to measure 23, you can use 3 or 2. I don't care. Pick one. And then you do this some more. Go down to the bottom. Measure 31, we got 2 voices again, but now the first one's just an 8th note. You'll have to hold it down. Remember, there's 2 flats there, and then you get a natural. Yeah. Because the repeat sign sends you back to the reverse repeat sign on the other page. Let's look at the left hand, see what it's doing. Eighth notes. 1, 2, and 2 and. Just remember the F sharp. So, let's go over to where measure 14. 1, 2, 3. 1 E and a 1 E and a 2. And then they want a 5. We're kind of stuck with that. We need a 5 on that note. Actually, we need a 4 on that note. This is measure 17. On the half note, we got multiple voices again. The bottom voice is the 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. That's the bottom voice. So you got to hold these notes down like they're marked. And the top voice is the other notes. 4, hold that down and do that. And then we come here, and then 2 on here. Hold these down as you do this. And then here. Hold these down. Hold these down again. 2 on if you can. And then now hold the half notes down. So I got 2 voices going on. And that's tricky, but it's important you be able to do this sort of thing. It will help you as the music gets even trickier. And you think, oh, forget that. I'll just use the pedal to help me out. Please don't. Do this with the fingers. Then I try putting the hands together and see what kind of a mess I have. We're back at 2 E and 1 E and 2 E and. So it's tricky, but that's sort of the rhythm is very repetitive. Let's go over to measure 14 because we're here. Measure 24, 1 and 2. So you work out the rhythm very carefully there. Keep it really slow. Speed it up later. I get the hands working together, and then I'll go back over it like just maybe a few measures at a time and work out the hesitations. And on this piece, well, on all pieces, but on this piece especially, if you're ever going to get it learned, work on those spots that you're having trouble with. Don't keep playing the parts you know. Once you get this part, once you can play that okay, set it aside. Don't keep playing it. Work on the other parts, these parts that you're having problems with. These parts. Work on that, work those out. And then once you have those worked out, then you can go put it all together. If you keep spending time playing stuff you can already play, you're actually wasting time. You're not learning the stuff you need to learn. To get it? So when you play it for somebody, you're going to play this first part really well because you played it a lot. But then as you get into it, you start messing up and it ruins it. I've heard people do that and you know they practice that way. Every time they practice, they would start at the beginning. But you don't always get through. So the beginning gets learned well, and then as you get into it, you get worse and worse and worse and worse. That's because of how they practiced it. So put it aside. Once you have this section A learned, work on that section B. Or if you want, start with section B. Learn that first. Some people will do that. And then section A, whatever. They'll find the hardest part and they'll focus on that first. And then gradually go backwards to the easier parts. Or forward to the easier parts, depending on where they're at. So once I have the hesitations out, then I'll think about the articulation. We have staccatos and slurs. And this is short staccato. Don't lift up an accent. Don't accent as you come up. No. The accent is on the first one. It's a natural accent. There. Measure 14 again. Accent. See, the accents help the left hand get in place. Here. And this is very connected here, very smooth. Measure 24 here. Lift up here. So there's a little silence. It's like taking a quick breath. And then leads into it. Then once I have an idea of the articulation, then I add the dynamics, and that is really for the melody, and this is the right hand here. Moderately soft, whatever you think, moderately soft. This has to be soft. And then measure 4, going into measure 5, you come up. And these, there's no rest here in the right hand, you hold it down. And then pick up to measure 9 at the bottom of the page here. That's soft again, like you were at the beginning. Now, as far as the speed goes, unhurried, con rubato. The typical. Unhurried means don't be in a hurry on this. Because you think 16th notes, they got to move. No, they don't. 16th notes, it doesn't imply how fast you're going anymore. Hundreds of years ago it did. Today, no. You'll find a lot of Beethoven music with 16th notes and even 32nd notes in it that are actually very slow. Yeah. So don't get confused with the 16th notes. What is unhurried? That's the feel is unhurried. And rubato is a give and take where you can slow down and speed up if you feel like it. I've never been very good at it, so hopefully you can do better. Might slow down a little bit here. Well, there's different kinds of rubato, but in a dance, the beat needs to stay the same. You don't speed up and slow down the beat. It's the melody that can play around. So this, rest, rest, rest. That has to be the same, but the right hand can do. You can play around with the melody and getting slower and faster as you feel it. If you don't feel it, don't do it. Just play it as written. Here and measure 17. So I said that too soon. I'm keeping the left hand strict. You can play around with the rhythm, but try and keep the underlying beat about the same. If you don't do it well, it just comes out like you can't count. Your rhythm's all messed up. You don't know what you're doing. I've heard people play like that. When I try and do rubato, that's usually what it sounds like. It sounds like I don't know what I'm doing. So I usually just leave it out and I just play fairly straight rhythm. Some people are very good at rubato. I'm not. Now you have the repeat signs. There are the endings at the bottom of page 15. So you just go back to the reverse repeat sign, play the whole mess again, right? Something like that. And I haven't added any pedal. I don't do pedal if I don't have to. I would prefer to leave it without. You can possibly add some pedal for section B, starting measure 17. Yeah. I don't want to smear the melody. I don't want to smear that. I'd like to keep it clean. So you'd have to... I just think it's easier to leave pedal out. Let the fingers do it all. There is a molto red at the end where you slow down.